Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 2 of What If Naruto was the first Otsutsuki to ever exist. Remember to get this one too 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels. Yes, if you're new, I indeed have 4 more channels that I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. All of the links will be down below in the description, so simply go ahead and obliterate that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support, and don't forget to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. So without further ado or wasting more time, how about we leap right into this brand new episode? Begin now guys. So, to do a bit of a recap from the last part that we left off, the father of Neji Hyuga had just perished after switching place with his brother, and his life was claimed by the Kumo team after the incident with the Kumo team trying to kidnap Hinata and Hayashi, striking down their ambassador, as Konoha had already signed the deal. So they had to pay a life for a life. However, Neji was not alone. His friend, his closest friend within the clan, arrived. His name was Naruto Hyuga, a boy that was a mystery to the clan. He was found by the third Hokage after a venture towards the Fire Daimyo capital. The boy was clearly a Hyuga, but where he came from and who was his parents or his origin was unknown to this day. Naruto received a lot of backlash and hate because of that, as he was branded one of the branch members. However, there was someone that cared for him greatly. Her name was Juvia. She was like an older sister and a mother, wrapped up in one, as she was always there for him, always watching over him no matter what, as Naruto cared for her greatly. However, as Naruto tried to enter the academy, he was being punished not to, because Juvia's boyfriend was always hurting her. And Naruto always made it a fact to stand up for her, despite the seal being activated to cause him tremendous pain. However, a secret between Juvia and Naruto that no one else knew, not even Neji, was that the seal did not affect Naruto in the way that one might think. It wasn't a stinging pain that caused him to freeze up. It was merely a nudge on the head. Reasons was unknown, but Juvia knew if they ever found out about this, well, it would be bad for Naruto, so she made him keep it to himself. As the time went on, she decided to sign the application so he would enter into the academy. However, her boyfriend found out that she was preventing herself from getting pregnant to have his child, and he went too far. When Naruto arrived home that day, Juvia was no longer amongst the living. The doctor, who had broken under pressure and spilled to the boyfriend, came to Naruto to let him know everything. For the remaining week, Naruto was quiet and vengeful as well, as he caught him heading home after a drunken day at a bar. The man was also feeling guilty because he went too far with the seal and killed Juvia. He was just so angry, and the main house decided to push it under the carpet. So Naruto exacted his own vengeance. He thought he could wear Naruto down with a seal, but that was his mistake as Naruto used it against him. Something clicked out there that night though, as Naruto created spectral hands that seemed to move with his own hands. They didn't have a mind of their own, they were under his control, and they were vastly, extremely powerful. They also was able to ignite as Naruto burned his corpse. As Naruto's heart got a lot darker that day, Jovia was dead, the person that looked over and watched over him. The remaining time within the compound was agony. The main members always treated them like they were less than dirt. Neji was there for Naruto because Naruto was there for him. Although Naruto was also friends with Hinata, she did not deserve the hate that she was getting as he heard the way the clan spoke about her and her weakness. And the girl was not strong enough to defend herself, and her father always looked away, seeming to not care for her mental health at all. As Naruto approached her and told her that it was alright, she cried in his arms. Hinata greatly looked up to Naruto because he was strong-willed and able to push past all the hatred that he received. Naruto was the one that told her not to talk to him while they were at the compound because that would just make people hate her even more. Despite she saw him as a friend, people saw Naruto as an outsider. Despite him being a Hyuga, they did not like him that much either at all. So he just took it all. He went to the academy and he made a few friends, but most did not like him, believing that he was one of the common Hyugas that was arrogant, but it was far from it. In his class there was a girl, Mito Uzumaki. She was hated by most of the populace of the village, but Naruto did not pay attention to that. After Jovia's death, he was getting more and more darker. His outlook on life did not seem to be the same, and Neji noticed that. The day came as Naruto performed the academy test, which was simple and easy as he passed. That night Naruto was in the forest as he saw Mito face off against Mizuki and demolish him. Upon going home, Naruto tried to replicate the technique that he saw her do. However, unknown to him, he created a solid clone. After hitting the clone to test it, the thing did not pop to show its resilience. When it did dispel by Naruto's hands though, the energy flew back into him and also all of its memories and views. While that was going on, something was happening beyond the elemental nation. A woman with clear eyes. She was gazing down towards the emptiness of space. She was looking for someone. However, she was not the only one. Two beings in a far distance, one known as Kinshiki, the other one known as Momoshiki, felt the presence as well. They were confused. Who was this new Otsutsuki? They had no idea who it was. The girl seemed to know the Otsutsuki though. The race of powerful beings. Naruto's whole existence was a mystery that no one truly know, but they will find out soon enough. So yeah guys, basically as left off, you guys can switch across the playstick for yourself, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and destroy that red subscribe button and become a part of the Animaking family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. So without further ado or wasting more time, how about we throw ourselves right into this brand new episode. Begin now guys. Entire civilizations wiped out. Planets being erased. Thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, billions erased in the blink of an eye. Countless screams, chaos, galaxies, all being erased like that. Naruto jumped out of bed, cold sweat all over him. He took a deep breath as he got to his feet. Naruto stood there, thinking about this latest nightmare. They've been getting worse. Every single time he closed his eyes, something came, interrupting his sleep. He's barely gotten a good night's sleep lately. It was getting worse and worse. He had no idea what was wrong. However, there was an upside to this. His body doesn't seem to require that much sleep anymore. He couldn't tell the last time that he was tired from physical exertion from not sleeping. Something was truly going on with him. The only other person that knew about this was Neji. No one else. As he glanced towards the clock, he had a few hours before Going to the academy. Time skip. As Naruto sat down, his gaze was fixated through the window as he watched a bird chirp, flowing down from the branch and landed on another. Naruto watched a movement of the bird when he then saw something strange. There was a golden aura that surrounded said bird. It seemed to just wrap around it, fluttering from its wings, its entire body. Naruto rubbed his eyes to see if he was seeing things. However, it didn't go away. The golden aura vanished though. The moment the aura went away, at least 2 seconds later, a snake, who was residing inside tree, lashed out and sunk its fangs into the bird. The poor creature tried to fight it off, but the snake wrapped around it and pulled it. As Naruto tilted his head in confusion, his mind trying to understand, what was he looking at? It definitely wasn't chakra. So what exactly is it? Alright everyone, a voice said, interrupting his thoughts, as Naruto turned to see that the class was filled with kids already. He glanced down as he saw Mito, Uzumaki, remembering about her debacle with Mizuki, and Haruka standing by her side. There she now stood with a headband calmly placed on her forehead. She seemed really happy. Naruto glanced as he looked up towards Hinata. She also possessed a headband as well. Hinata has been going through a lot lately. However, knowing that people were there for her, people like Naruto, it helped greatly. As Haruka spoke the words, congratulating each and every one of them. Memories. As Naruto wished that she could be here to see him graduate. But she was not. Jovia, he muttered under his breath. The incident brought back so much rage as he proceeded to clench his fists, lost in his thoughts, forgetting about where he was. All of a sudden, the sky outside seemed to darken as Naruto was focused on his dark thoughts. Haruka paused what he was saying as he glanced out. Well, that's sudden, he said, surprised by the weather change, as lightning clashed in the darkened heavens. Seems like today's weather is going to be a rainy one, he said, gazing out. Alright students, he said, as he returned back to his congratulations speech. A fond memory appeared in Naruto's mind though, of Juvia signing the consent form for him to join the academy. She kissed him on the forehead and told him that he would do great. That brought a small smile to his face. And the weather outside completely changed. Sitting next to Naruto, Shikamaru Nara noticed something rather odd. He saw Naruto's fist clench, and the weather outside seemed to change because of that, and then, when he smiled, the weather seemed to return back to normal. This must be some sort of coincidence, Shikamaru thought, shrugging it off. After all, something like that just wasn't possible. And besides, if it was, the amount of time and effort to put into finding out if it was really him, you know what? That would just be too much. As he placed his head down, only for Haruka to throw the marker at him, waking him up. Today was a special day, no sleeping. Alright, Haruka said. I'll be announcing the teams now. As Naruto zoned out until he heard his name called, along with Team 7, consisting of Mito, Uzumaki, and Sasuke Uchiha. Those were two people that he's never really spoken to at all. As Team 8 was called, Hinata, Kiba, and also Shino Aberami, one of Naruto's friends, Shino. Shino was a pretty cool guy. He was calm, relaxed, and he didn't talk that much, and besides, he did not judge Naruto for being a Hyuga, as most of the other kids thought that he was stuck up for some reason. Well, he supposed he was partly to blame, with never talking to them. And also he seemed to be angry a lot. Well, which he was. Ino made a big fuss when her name was called. Of all the people to get stuck on a team with, she got the lazy bones and the fat one. What about Sasuke? Or Naruto? Granted, they've never had a conversation before, but Ino was 100% sure in her mind that Naruto was the second cutest boy in the class. So yeah, but she got them. Members after members came as they took their team away, leaving behind Team 7 as Mito got out of her chair. She and Sasuke seemed to have a rather complicated relationship as she made her way over towards Naruto. We never formally met, she said. Although, many people say that you're stuck up and you think that you're better than everyone. Just like the arrogant Uchiha over there, she said rather loudly. Sasuke proceeded to send her a glare. However, she shrugged it off like it was nothing. However, I'll make my first impression of you on my own. So, my name is Mito Uzumaki. I know who you are, said Naruto, looking at her. It's your turn, she said. Do you not know my name, he asked. Yeah, but this is how you do introductions. Fine, said Naruto. I'm Naruto Hyuga. It's a pleasure to meet you, she said, with a smile on her face. Hey, duck butt. Sasuke, I snapped at that. What do you call me? I said duck butt. As she folded her arms with a smile. Quite fitting name, don't you think? Given the shape of your hair. Sasuke sent her a nasty glare. The both of them had been at each other's throats since one could remember. They never seemed to get along, no matter what. Mito thought that he was arrogant, stuck up and weird, and he thought that she was annoying and loud, and also stupid as well. The both of them had made their feelings known on several occasions. As Naruto stood there, watching their weird interaction. Time skip. A few hours passed by. Mito lost her cool a long time ago, as she placed an eraser at the door to prank their sensei, whoever it is. Sasuke scoffed. There was no possible way that their so-called sensei could fall for that. If the man was a Jonin, those were supposed to be the highest rank within the village other than the Hokage. Naruto was quiet throughout all of this, taking note of the both of their behavior. Mito was trying her best to start a preve with him, to become friends. She wasn't a bad person, it was just that she was loud, extremely so. However, it wasn't just that she was loud, there was something else that Naruto noticed. Sasuke, on the other hand, he was standoffish. Naruto wasn't surprised. Most of the academy children seem to know about the Uchiha massacre, but do they truly know what it was? Sasuke has suffered a lot. Being a part of the Hyuga clan, Naruto was able to get information that most children were unable to get, as he heard conversations around the compound on what truly happened that night. Naruto felt destroyed and still do after losing Juvia. Imagine losing everyone that you ever knew, and the one to do it was your own brother. Naruto sensed the incoming individual as the door opened up, and the eraser calmly dropped on his head. Sasuke was surprised by that. Mito burst out laughing. That's what you get, she yelled at Kakashi. Kakashi gazed, looked towards them. Okay, my first impression of you all is that I hate all of you, he said. Meet me on the roof. With that, he was gone. A few minutes later, Kakashi was observing the individuals that were in front of him. Hiruzen had told him to keep an eye on Naruto. The circumstances of the boy's finding was truly unusual. The Hyugas had claimed that the boy did not show any talent or anything special. However, Hiruzen being the one to actually found the boy, his whole existence didn't seem natural at all. That shockwave that he felt, that bright light, something was going on there. Now that you're all gathered, why don't we start with some introductions? Kakashi said. Time skip. Naruto had just found out something. After their day with Kakashi, they had a test to do tomorrow. However, Naruto wanted to see why Mito behaved this way. He knew there was something. It was easy to follow her. Really easy. Actually too easy. Using his Byakugan to his discretion, he was able to see the people, and as they talked to one another, Naruto was rather surprised. It wasn't late yet, so he was able to visit the library. He was a genin now. He was able to access certain different areas with his headband. And he found out that she was a Jinchuriki. He never really paid attention to her before, but now he knew. He saw the whispers, them calling her the nine-tailed fox. He saw the glares. Naruto was confused by that. It was hard to find the term Jinchuriki, but it was there. Jinchuriki is known as a human sacrifice, someone that is used to seal away a demon. That is how they saw the tailed beasts. Naruto was surprised to know all of that. As for Mito, she saw their whispers, she saw their glares. Naruto saw the toll that it took on her, but she shrugged it off, putting a smile up, but he was sure that it was fake. There was a lot of anger and sadness underneath. Now here he was, within the forest, as Naruto was looking down towards a squirrel. He had been the one to strike the squirrel down. The kunai in his hand was still dripping with blood. It was something that he was trying to test for some time now. Naruto stepped forward as a translucent hand emerged. It emerged from his back this time. He was able to control it to move it all over his body. It wrapped around the squirrel. He did this on a tree, while a tree was alive to a sense. This was a living animal. As Naruto focused, that is when he saw it, the golden energy. His theories were correct. It was so low, but upon doing what he did, it get flush and surrounded the squirrel. He wasn't looking at chakra, but the life essence of a being. Naruto was surprised. The wound on the squirrel, it vanished. This wasn't just healing. Naruto had theorized earlier that he was able to reverse time. But he thought he was just saying madness because that wasn't possible. Even if it was, why would someone like him possess that ability? But here it was. The squirrel hopped off, flushed with life energy. As Naruto was rather shocked. How was he able to mend the wound to the point there was nothing there? He activated his Byakugan and scanned the squirrel. There was no puncture mark, no scar, nothing at all. This wasn't healing. He reversed the damage. Naruto looked at his hands as a spectral hand moved behind him. He was shocked. Time skip. The same squirrel was making its way when a snake tried to attack it in the forest. However, the squirrel moved out of the way with speed that a normal animal like itself should not have. The squirrel then jumped down and crushed into the snake. However, a moment later, that power vanished. It seems like Naruto accidentally empowered the squirrel. However, it seemed to be only a one-time thing. The poor animal seemed to take this with strive. Unfortunately, got devoured later that day. Time skip. Naruto stood with Neji. As he was speaking to him, Mito Uzumaki and Sasuke Uchiha said, "Naruto, I see. That's the one you saw that night." Naruto nodded. And Sasuke, "Yeah," said Naruto. The both of them can be quite a bit much when it comes to arrogance and also being loud. But I don't blame them, said Naruto. Everyone needs to find a way to cope. What about you? Neji said, looking towards Naruto. He was one of the few that saw the changes within Naruto. The look in his eyes, the hopefulness that he used to have. That didn't matter what The members of the clan did. There was always a way, but that seemed to be no longer there. As Naruto gazed up towards the heavens, what can I say? Times are different now. Things are different. Upon seeing what the world truly is, it is hard to go back to what you thought it was before, but that doesn't matter. I'm on Team 7 now. There's a lot to look forward to, said Naruto. Perhaps our path will cross in the near future, Naruto said. Yes, perhaps. And I can finally show you why I'm the superior one, said Neji. As Naruto chuckled slightly, his white hair dancing within the wind, he found it rather hilarious. Neji himself believed that he could actually keep up with Naruto, but a part of him doubted that. Naruto was the one that was hiding it, so was Neji. It is uncommon for branch members to learn the two prize techniques of the Hyuga clan, but Neji knew them. He was special. He was a prodigy, they called him. Naruto, on the other hand, he kept everything to himself. But Neji's skills were known, but not everything. But the day would come where he showed them that just because he's not a main member, that doesn't mean that he's not special. Time skip. A month and 2 weeks had passed. Team 7 officially became a team after their tests, where Mito got tied to a stump. It wasn't hard to figure out how the exam was set. It was Iruka. He was always bragging about teamwork, and that they must understand it, they must know about it. Teamwork was the unification of all teams within Konoha. So it wasn't hard to see that Kakashi was trying to pit them against each other. It was hard to convince them to work together though. But in the end they became Team 7 officially. They've been Team 7 for a month and a couple of weeks now. And Mito was fed up with it. She crossed her arms. I'm not a little girl anymore. I am now a Kunoichi of the Hidden Leaf. And I demand a higher rank mission, she said, as she turned her back on the Hokage. She was one of the few that could do something like this without any repercussions. As Iruka was about to scold her, but Hiruzen raised a hand. Kakashi sighed, knowing that he would get the heat for this. Sasuke was also on board. For the past month, all they've been doing was wasting his talents. So, you believe that you're ready for something more higher? Of course, she shouted. How am I going to be Hokage if I don't rise up in the ranks? After all, I am going to be the first female Hokage, and I am going to take that hat. So, if I don't take higher rank missions and learn more, how am I going to be the Hokage? You're stunting my growth, old man. Hiruzen merely chuckled to himself before he turned his gaze towards Kakashi. So, do you think they're ready for something higher? Kakashi looked down. Sasuke seemed to be eager for an outside mission. Mito seemed to be ready for one as well. Well, he was going off of looks. She was also sending him a look, like she would attack him if he said no. He then turned towards Naruto. Naruto was the most difficult that he's come across. Not in terms of not listening, but the child was far more mature than he could have ever thought. However, he wasn't surprised. Most of the branch house members have been through a lot. He supposed they had an earlier growth than most of the other kids. But now looking at it, every single member on this team had been through a lot. Every single one of them, including the sensei as well. Kakashi nodded, believing that it will help them bond more. Naruto had no problem with Mito. Sasuke seemed to not take that well to Naruto. Kakashi wondered if it was because of their last name. However, Naruto seemed to not have any problem with him though. But Kakashi had an idea that could help them all. Time skip. Naruto was surprised when he was called to speak with Hayashi Hyuga. This was actually the second time he was ever summoned by the man. As Naruto knocked and waited, enter. He entered inside. As Hayashi sat there behind his desk, rather calm and nonchalant. As Naruto stood there, Hayashi finally looked up, but Naruto's gaze did not waver from his. You are now a ninja of this village, representing this village with your headband. However, those eyes of yours and the last name that you possess represent this clan. Your action outside will show many people what the name of the Hyuga stands for. Hayashi's gaze became stern. You've been nothing but a disappointment, he said, looking towards Naruto. I was earlier against your starting of the academy because of your proven low excel in the field. Even against your fellow man, I was able to get a transcript of everything that you've done towards the academy side, and your grades, your capability have been nothing but a disappointment on the clan name. However, we will not bring shame to the clan by having you fall out of the academy. You're now taking a public view where many people will see you and your name that you represent, and I will not have you disgrace our clan. Naruto remained quiet as ever as he simply listened to the man. That is why I've gotten you a personal teacher, he said. Every day upon returning back to the compound, it does not matter if you are tired or what you have been through that day. You will be pushed to your absolute limit until you show progress. I will not have you bringing down the family name no matter what branch you are from. Am I understood? Hayashi said sternly. Yes, sir, said Naruto, as he stood there calmly. Dismiss, Hayashi said. Naruto turned as he started to walk away. As he proceeded to leave. After Juvia's death, his grade had taken a toll for the worse. It wasn't that Naruto was lacking in certain areas. It was that he wasn't trying. He stopped trying some time ago. In terms of the academy, Neji might think that he understand what Naruto was going through, but he did not. He didn't understand. The human feelings are different, unusual sometimes. Neji had the understanding and the respect of many of the other branch members. Many claim that they respected and understand Naruto as well, but him being an outsider made things worse. The main family did not want him within the clan. Many believed that he was a disgrace. They did not know his lineage. Having an outsider, having no identity of his background, they saw this as a great burden on their name. They didn't want something from the outside mingling with their clan. The Hyuga was the purest. They did not mingle with any other clan. They did not have marriages outside of their own clan. Just because he had the eyes, that didn't mean that he was there, that he born within their compound, that he was bred within the village, and they hate him for that. Many of the branch members stay their distance away from him because of the backlash that Naruto got more from the other main members. Many of the branch members got hate and got shouted at, but it was not as bad. Naruto, on the other hand, the very sight of him made the main members' blood boil, especially the older ones. So yes, while Neji might think that he understood, he had the branch members, Naruto. He basically had no one. Neji was a friend, a close friend, because he was different than many of the other branch members, but Juvia was everything to Naruto. She took care of him. It didn't matter about anything. She took the hate, the glares, the pain for him. When she died, Naruto kind of gave up on most things. The only thing that might be pushing him right now was knowing that Juvia would be upset if he just wasted away. Naruto never informed Hayashi that he was going on a month-long mission tomorrow, just to piss the man off, considering that he wanted to start his training. Well, screw him. Time skip. Team 7 was making their way towards the land of Wave. Their client name was Tazuna. As they were heading there, as they were conversing, Mito was asking about the shinobi at the land of Wave, finding out there was none. Naruto noticed a puddle up ahead and discreetly activated his Byakugan as he saw through the illusion rather easily and saw the two ninjas. As Naruto wondered why their sensei had not made a move yet. Naruto wondered if the man did not notice. Now that would be a huge disappointment. As they walked past it, Naruto prepared himself. The puddle exploded outwards. Kakashi was ripped apart. Mito froze up. As much as she thought that she was ready, seeing it right in front of her, she froze up. Sasuke, on the other hand, threw himself right into the battle. As he started to attack, he was able to stop the chain. Naruto blinked. Something happened. As he saw Kakashi holding both ninjas by their neck. What the hell? Naruto said, confused. When everything seemed to return back to normal, the demon brother on the right, Miyaizo, rushed towards Naruto and sliced upwards, but it was a feint. His leg came and kicked into Naruto's stomach. Naruto blinked once again. Nothing happened, as the demon brother truly ran towards him now. Naruto looked towards the slice as he dressed back. However, he brought his hand up and blocked the leg strike. Naruto thrust his palm right into the leg, hitting the point. The demon brother squirmed as he brought his arm down, the claw right towards Naruto's face, but he then lashed out. Naruto tilted his head. However, he leaned back as the claw passed over him. He struck the arm. The arm fell to the demon brother's side limply. He then tried to jump and use his free leg to kick Naruto. However, Naruto ducked underneath it with ease. Naruto was confused. He was seeing what happened before it happened. Now behind the demon brother, Naruto saw Mito. His gaze seemed to snap her out of her funk. Naruto thrust his palm into the man's back, throwing him forward as Mito ran and kicked him in the ear. She then jumped upwards as she spun and slammed her leg on his shoulder, forcing him to slam into the earth. As she landed downwards, she had a grateful look as she looked towards Naruto. His gaze was able to help her to realize that she was on the battlefield and to snap out of her nervousness. The last demon brother was thrown back after a kick to the face by Sasuke, but he still wasn't down yet. He scoffed at his brother, falling to a bunch of kids, as he rearranged a gauntlet on his arm with a blade. However, moving forward, his throat was slammed by Kakashi's arm. That is when Naruto saw it again, Kakashi holding both demon brothers. However, the one that they took down disappeared like a mirage, as everything seemed to be normal. Naruto was confused as he gripped his face slightly, feeling a tingling in his eyes. Hey, are you alright? Mito said. Yeah, I'm fine, said Naruto. Time skip. The group was making their way. Tazuna had come clean, but the group decided to still partake on the mission. Throughout all of this, Naruto was trying to understand what the hell was going on with him. Not only was he able to reverse time on wounds, but he was able to see the movements. He heard about the special ability of the Sharingan, but this was beyond that. Not only did he see their movements, he was able to glimpse into the future. Was something like that even possible? He's never heard of a shinobi, let alone a Hyuga, doing something like this before. More and more changes keep on happening to him. Granted, he did not know how to control it, but something like this can really come in handy. As they were making their way, Mito suddenly launched a kunai towards the rustling bush to find out that it was nothing but a little bunny. As Naruto gazed then fixated on a blade, it tore through the sky, rushing towards them. Naruto blinked and everything was back to normal. Everyone, get down, he yelled. They heard the whipping sound. They did not even look, they simply dived towards the ground as a massive blade swept overhead. Kakashi presumed that Naruto was using his Byakugan to check the surrounding area and saw that, so he did not question it. Naruto gazed up as he looked towards a man. His face was covered in bandages. He wasn't wearing any clothing on his chest. Naruto then found himself gazing at the same man on what seemed to be a bridge. There was multiple swords sticking out of his back. He was on his knees, bloody, as Naruto's gaze returned back to normal. What the hell? Naruto wondered. So far, he's not seen anything that went beyond their environment. The bridge was all the way over there. In his dilemma, Kakashi was talking to Zabuza Mamakai, who refused to stand down. The Sharingan was brought up, causing Sasuke to explain it after Mito asked, "What was that?" Kakashi told him to take formation around Tazuna, which they quickly did. As a battle ensued, Sasuke started to tremble, feeling the bloodlust. Naruto, on the other hand, he could not see beyond the mist. There was too much chakra. However, given the effect of too much chakra, it was supposed to cause the user pain in their eyes, but Naruto could still see. While he could not see through it, he could see Zabuza's life force. So he knew where the man was. The man was moving at tremendous speed. He was flashing around, trying to get beyond Kakashi. Kakashi released his own chakra, telling Sasuke that it would be alright. As Mito clenched her fists, Naruto spun around as he brought his kunai out, slashing towards Zabuza's stomach. Zabuza was caught off guard. Naruto slashed the exact moment he appeared. The kunai slashed Zabuza across his stomach, causing him to bleed. In doing so though, he brought his blade down as he jumped back. As Naruto pushed Sasuke out of the way, a few strands of his hair was sliced off, only for Kakashi to burst through the foliage and slam right into Zabuza, shoulder tackling him away as his blood sprayed on the ground. A battle ensued between both men. Kakashi was unrelentless. Given the fact that his students almost got killed, he put in the work. Zabuza, who was injured from the stomach slash, was slowly losing and getting weaker and weaker as the battle dragged on. Kakashi did not give him any time to reform or any time to do anything. He quickly mimicked Zabuza's technique and sent him sailing through a tree. Zabuza crashed on the ground. His stomach was still heavily bleeding. Having no regeneration ability, Zabuza was in bad condition as Kakashi was about to end his life when he was hit in the neck. His body lies still on the ground. A hunter nin appeared as Naruto immediately saw beyond the mass, and then he found himself on the bridge once again. But this time, the hunter nin was standing in front of Kakashi. Kakashi's hand was through the hunter nin's chest, lightning cackling off his hand. Everything then returned back to normal. The life force around Zabuza seemed to be stagnant, but it was still there. Kakashi confirmed though after checking his pulse that he was dead. Naruto shouted out, "Sensei, it's a trick!" The kunai in Kakashi's hand sprung to action as he whirled it around. However, needles quickly appeared in the hunter's hand, knocking Kakashi back. Naruto snapped his gaze towards Sasuke, having an idea. A massive fireball was hurled out of the sky, forcing the hunter nin to use measures that they would rather keep hidden. Going through quick hand signs, two mirrors were created from ice, one to block the fireball and the other one to block the several shurikens and kunais that were thrown from Kakashi. Quickly grabbing the body, another mirror was formed. The hunter nin pulled Zabuza right through it. Kakashi would try to go after, but he realized his body was at its limit, as Naruto could see that as he looked towards Kakashi and stepped forward. He caught the man, despite his tremendous weight, giving Naruto a smaller frame. Mito ran over. "What's wrong with him?" "He's just tired," said Naruto as he looked at Kakashi. it's the Sharingan. It's too much for him, Naruto said. Sasuke figured that might be something that happened, given that Kakashi was not an Uchiha. Time skip. Kakashi was really out of it. Naruto could see beyond the eye and go into the nerves. Kakashi's eye was always activated because he could not turn it off. He didn't have the body of a Uchiha, so it took a lot of strain on his chakra coils. Naruto saw something, but he decided not to do anything about it. He didn't want to give away too much about himself. As he wondered though, if his spectral hand could reverse the damage. However, he did not do anything about it. Kakashi came to minutes later to inform them that they will be beginning their training the moment he was back on his feet, so they could prepare for the threat that is coming their way. As he asked to speak to Naruto in private, "How did you know the Hunter Nin was a fake?" As Naruto's face did not show anything that might give him away. "I saw beyond the mask, the expression and emotions. It seems like the Hunter Nin desperately care for Zabuza, and given my fighting style, I've come across Senbon needles before. They're similar to what I can do in terms of immobilizing the body," Naruto said. Kakashi was a bit blown away by Naruto. He can be a bit quiet, but the boy had a genius brain in there. "Alright, you should get some rest. Mito is using her clones to check the perimeter. We'll be getting right to work tomorrow," he said. "I'll be back on my feet by then." "Yes, Sensei," said Naruto. "Wait," said Kakashi as Naruto stopped at the door. "You can see through masses," he said. "Does that mean—" "Don't worry," said Naruto. "I'm not gonna tell anyone." As he proceeded to walk out. Later that night, something unusual happened once more. This time though, Naruto found himself in the depths of emptiness. Naruto looked down towards his hands. His whole skin was see-through, glowing with a blue light. This was the first time his dream was this realistic. However, Naruto soon came to realize that this wasn't a dream. As his eyes adjust, he could see the house. Naruto floated downwards. His eyes widened in shock. "Am I dead?" Naruto wondered. As he was outside of his physical form, there his body lies, sleeping. Sleeping. As he saw his chest moving up and down. Then what is this, Naruto thought to himself. The next moment, his body seemed to transcend any normal reality of speed. As Naruto saw beyond, he was able to see the glimpses as he passed through. Everything was a blur. His body speed through space. As Naruto found himself in front of a woman. Shock. He wasn't tired, of course not. He wasn't hyperventilating or anything, he was just there. The woman herself was frightened as she gazed at him. It can't be," she said. Her gaze focused on his. Her eyes looked on him. Her eyes were similar to him. His Byakugan was peculiar than most, and so was hers. She was dressed in an elegant, white dress, with an obi wrapped around her waist. The strange part was, she had horns in her head. Horns! Her white hair was tied up, just as white as his. She dropped to one knee. "Sir, you're alive," she said with utmost respect in her tone. "Who are you?" said Naruto. "Don't you remember me?" she said, looking at him confused. "No, I don't know who you are." "Where am I?" he said, looking around. "I see. Something must have happened to your memory after all these eons. It is so good to see you again. But you don't even know who I am. This form is your spectral form. Please, tell me where you're located." There's a lot that you need to know. I have kept this secret. None of the other Otsutsukis know. Wait, what am I saying? You don't know what I'm talking about. Ever since you were betrayed. Please, just tell me where you're located. There must be something I can do to fix your memory. Naruto looked at her strangely. I know, you might find it hard to trust me, but I will never, ever seek to do you any harm. After all, you're the one that created me. You're my father. She said, looking at him. Father? Naruto said. Not to state the obvious, but if you haven't noticed, lady, I'm a child. It might seem that way, but you're not. You are one of the most powerful beings in the universe, who was betrayed by the ones he loved for power. I thought they destroyed you, but I knew you could never truly be destroyed. And now you're back. She stepped forward. Please, just tell me where you are. I'll find you, she said. Naruto looked at her oddly, wondering if this woman could answer the questions that he has been desiring so long about himself. I'm at the Elemental Nation, said Naruto. The Elemental Nation? Right. You wouldn't know what that is. Given my view a moment ago, I take it I'm no longer on the planet. Damn it. I don't know the name, said Naruto. There must be something I can do. As he reached out towards her, hoping for one of those miracles. Something that he find out about himself, something new that could show her the way to get some answers. Answers that he's been seeking for some time now. However, as she reached out towards him, Naruto felt a tug. Damn it. The next moment he was torn out of the sky, torn through space. In the blink of an eye he was back. Naruto jumped out of bed, taking deep breaths. They didn't have enough room, so Naruto had to share. There Sasuke was over to the side, in his sleeping bag. Sasuke was out cold, and there Kakashi was over to the other side as well. The room was pretty big. Naruto was sweating, wondering if all of that was a dream or was it reality. Meanwhile, with the unknown woman, as she opened her palm, there was a blue speck in her palm. As she squeezed it shut, there was a smile, a radiant smile on her face. I'll find you, she said. As she took off, her body blazing through the heavens like an angel, her hair making it look like she had wings. Time skip. Naruto has been struggling to access that form ever since, but so far there has been nothing at all. Naruto got a bit angry with the young child of Tsunami on that night. Inari was losing his cool, as these people seemed to be all happy. However, he wasn't aware of the true sadness that most of them had to deal with on a daily basis. He started to shout at Team 7 about them knowing nothing about his pain. Naruto, who wasn't usually the type to get involved or to speak up to someone in a threatening tone, spoke. They were surprised, Sasuke so, Mito as well. Be quiet, said Naruto. Inari was surprised by the tone that was spoken to him. You're just a child. You don't understand what pain is. But I won't hold it against you either because, as I said, you're just a child. The cold words of Naruto seemed to frighten Inari as he ran upstairs. There wasn't any hate behind it, but it was just the way Naruto spoke. His words brought back memories, because he said that they haven't lost anyone, and Juvia came to mind. Where are you going, said Kakashi. I just need to take a breather, said Naruto. I won't stray too far. Mito was also afflicted by her past as well, given the sad mood. Sasuke, he started to remember a few things. Sasuke believed that he owed Naruto for saving his life. Zabuza would have taken his head off. However, Sasuke just didn't know how to go about speaking to him. The Hyugas and the Uchihas were supposed to be enemies, right? But Naruto did not seem to matter about that. But Sasuke found himself thinking about that when he should not. The ending result of Naruto staying out for the entire night resulted in him meeting someone. Immediately, Naruto knew. He knew immediately. However, it happened once again. This time Naruto saw himself on the bridge, and he even knew her name. Her name was Haku. She pretended to be a boy, but she was actually a girl. It was really rough out there, especially to be a female. And she always carried herself to pretend to be a boy, because most people wouldn't take her seriously. And also there was a lot of perverts out there. And she would do anything to make sure that she made Zabuza-sama happy. Naruto was baffled. This one lasted for what seemed to be minutes, and yet, in reality, only 1 second passed. He found himself on the bridge as Haku told him her life history. She had to kill her own father after he killed her mother. The emotions that she spoke with got to Naruto. Immediately, Haku tried to move but found herself outmatched in speed as Naruto pinned her to the ground, grabbing both of her hands and holding her there. Haku was surprised. All she did was tell him that he might catch cold sleeping out here. How would he know? That is when she was able to gaze into his eyes. She had not noticed earlier when they first met, but she knew what his eyes represented. He saw her face. She tried her hardest to move, but she found herself outstrengthened. He even bested her in speed. Just who was this Hyuga, she thought to herself. She knew that clan. She was so worried about Zabuza-sama that she wasn't paying attention when they first met. And a moment ago his eyes were closed. But now as she gazed at them, she knew what they were. However, with him holding her hand, he could not move either, unless his friends arrive. She started to get worried. "It's alright," Naruto said. "Everything's gonna be alright. As long as you convince Zabuza to leave this place." What? Haku said. "I know who you are, so drop the pretense. You see my eyes, do you not? You're the hunter ninja that helped Zabuza. But I'm giving you a chance to leave." Naruto said as he pulled himself up. "You see how fast I can move, and how strong I am, don't you? Imagine me and my two teammates fighting you, while my sensei take on Zabuza. You will definitely die. So, tell him to leave this place, or you will fall," said Naruto. He started to walk away. "Why? Why are you doing this?" Naruto turned towards her. "Do I need a reason?" "Yes, if you know who I am. Most ninjas would have gone for the kill, but you're letting me go. Why are you doing this? You care for Zabuza, do you not?" Haku remained quiet. "Well, I know you do, given the fact that there is no one else around. If you were to lose him, it will destroy you, wouldn't it? Well, I lost the person that I greatly cared for, and I know what that pain feels like. The only reason why you're my enemy is because someone hired you. It's all about money. But you're different," said Naruto. "I can see it in your eyes. You're a gentle soul that doesn't want to kill, but you were forced into this life. So don't do this. Just go," said Naruto. "I can't," Haku said. "As you said, you are right. I care for Zabuza-sama. He means everything to me. He's what gives my life purpose." "Why?" said Naruto. "Because without him, I had nothing. I had lost everything. I don't know why. I'm telling you this. You're my enemy. I watched my father kill my mother in front of me. And then I was forced to kill my father. And I had nothing after that. I was broken and alone. I had nothing. But he found me and he gave me purpose. So, I will not abandon him. I will not betray him. If it means I die, then I die. Haku waited for the retaliation, but Naruto smiled at her, once again confusing her. I understand, said Naruto. I would have done anything for the person I cared for. It didn't matter if I die or not. Fine. I guess I'll see you on the battlefield. Maybe in another life. We could have been friends, Naruto said. I'm truly sorry, Haku said. Before you go, what's your name, she asks. I'm Naruto. Naruto Hyuga. And you, he said, pretending like he didn't know her name. I'm Haku. The both of them walked away, having a mutual respect of each other despite knowing that they would have to kill each other soon. And the both of them had the same thought, because neither of them tell anyone. Haku knew that Zabuza was going to do this, so she didn't say anything. She didn't say a single word. She would follow him to her death if she have to. And Naruto kept everything to himself as well. However, that was the least of his problems. His background, his origin, a bit that has been released so far with this unknown Otsutsuki woman. It is coming for him. There was no stopping that. And those that betray him in the past were also coming for him as well. You guys will have to find out on the next episode, because this is where I end this, guys. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and don't forget to stay tuned for the other what ifs coming your way. I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. So without further ado or waste no more time, I'm out. Peace.